Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielsen and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
It is Wednesday inside the Lock Shop, and I guess around the rest of the world as well. Dusty and Huss with you, as always. Lock Shop brought to you by our great partners at Coolbet. Pat Gregoire from Coolbet going to be popping by here on this episode, as he has pretty much all season, with our golf picks and Tour Championship today. If you are listening to this podcast or watching it today, make sure you go back and check out I just retweeted all the podcast links to it one more time, and that is our first NFL Futures episode. That dropped yesterday. We've got week 12 in the Canadian Football League that we will dive into tomorrow. But Huss, are you getting emotional that this is kind of the last hurrah for golf betting for a little bit?
You know what? I was a little emotional on Sunday when Vic Hovland won, the partner parlay cashed. To me, to be honest, and this is not to diminish the Tour Championship, but the BMW was sort of the last full event. This is a fun event, and it gives us some unique betting opportunities because of the staggered field. But I'm ready for NFL to start. Essentially, once we get into the FedEx Cup playoffs, there's the graphs are just growing. The excitement of golf goes like this, while NFL is going like this, freaking rocket ship. Great feedback on yesterday's show as well. Lots of people fired up for the NFL futures. But let's see if we can squeeze out a few more winners from this golf season with one more tourney at East Lake.
Well, that is the plan. I mean, we're hoping to get that done. I'm going to set Pat up to come in here with us, but just give me your initial thoughts on betting a tournament with 30 guys, 30 options.
Well, listen, I mean, obviously things like top 10s, top 5s, I mean, are very different than a normal full field. And then what we should, I guess, get to right now for people that might not be familiar with is that this is the final event of the entire year for the FedEx Cup playoffs. I think the winner gets like $18 million. Second place is $6.5 million. So there is so much at stake to win. And because of that, they stagger the field with starting strokes earned through the entire FedEx Cup playoffs in the season. So Scotty Scheffler, and what is wild, this is one other thing that came out of Sunday. If Matthew Fitzpatrick had made his final putt, Victor Hovland and Scotty Scheffler would have actually been tied. It would have been a two-stroke. It ended up being a two-stroke difference for Scotty. So anyways, Scotty Scheffler starting at 10 under. Vic's at 8 under. Rory's at 7 under. John Rahm 6, Lucas Glover 5. How bizarre is that, by the way, just to hear Lucas Glover 5th.
No doubt.
Then you've got a group at 4 under, which is Homa, Cantlay, Harmon, Wyndham, Clark, Matty Fitz. 3 under is Fleetwood, Henley, Bradley, Fowler, Xander. Tom Kim, Sungjae, Finau, Connors, Siwoo Kim. And then Taylor Moore, Nick Taylor, Shank, Morikawa, Jason Day at 1 under, and even par Burns, Grillo, Hatton, Speed, Straka. So that's where everybody starts off. So when you notice that Scotty Scheffler is a plus 150 favorite for this event, it's because he's starting off at minus 10. So it's very staggered. Now, there are options to bet this event without the starting strokes, and we'll get into that. That I think if you want to hit a bigger winner, like a normal tourney, that's where you've got to go. But as I said, it's I don't even mind some of the odds, to be honest, for top 10s in a 30-person event. But again, you have to keep in mind where guys are starting to begin this tournament.
Hey, we always find a way. We always find a way to find value. That's pretty much how it works. Let's bring in Pat Gregoire from Coolbet. Of course, all the odds we always talk about at Lock Shop with our partners over at Coolbet. Patty, what a week. What a week for the Lock Shop last week. Sorry about that.
Yeah, we took it on the chin, no doubt about that. But I was on the winning end personally, so it was a little bit of a win-win or a win-lose, depending on however you look at it. But Vic Hovland, man, that's our guy. We knew that once he was in the mix, that he was at least for sure cash that parlay, but for him to come out and win it and get us the big winner, what a sweet way to end the last event leading up to this one. And you guys are talking about that. I have mixed feelings about this event. I understand, like, if you're an auto racing fan, like if you're a fan of F1 or NASCAR, you know how, qualifiers work, where you get staggered starts. I get that. But for me, like, this is a hard event for me to bet an outright winner, because I just don't see how Scotty Scheffler coughs up the lead. And yes, you guys mentioned it. You can, bet without the strokes, and that's probably where I'm going to lean a lot on my outrights. But we could talk about how bad of a putter Scotty Scheffler is. We could talk about what a historic year he should be having and the opportunities he has blown. But the fact is, since winning the Players in March, Scheffler has only lost to 12 players by 6 strokes in each of those 12 events. So basically, that means pretty much anyone outside of Lucas Glover has no chance to win this thing. And even with that being said, Rory, Hovland, Rahm, those guys, maybe. But how often have we ever seen Scotty blow an opportunity like this much? I just really don't see it happening. But with that being said, plus 150, that's just not enough for me. I cannot do that, especially the way we've been seeing that guy putt lately.
Listen, you make a great point. But I will point out that your guy Vic was 4 down at the turn last Sunday afternoon. Now, he did go nuclear with the 28.
Is he? Yeah.
But here it is. I mean, to me, this is a three-horse race. And listen, it should be 4, but I don't have a lot of confidence in John Rahm's form right now. Now, this could be, remember this quote from the lock shop on Wednesday when Rahm goes out and goes nuclear and wins. I mean, the big players come up for these big money events. But I'm with you. I mean, I think we're basically looking at 4 possible guys that could conceivably win this, and more likely this top 3. But again, 2 strokes can be turned around in 1 hole. So I was thinking Rory, guys, at the beginning, and I sent in Rory because, he's the big money guy. And then I just started thinking more about the season Vic Hovland's having, what he did on Sunday. I was, reading up some guys that were walking with him yesterday, watching him in his practice round, that they've never seen the guy more dialed in. How the hell do we not at least take a sprinkle on Vic Hovland at 5-1 in this event when he's only 2 strokes behind Scheffler and ahead of everybody else?
Yeah, so that is the only outright winner bet that I do have with strokes, with what the staggered starts have. And I totally agree. And I know I said, we don't see Scheffler blow too many leads. Well, the one guy he did blow a lead to was Vic Hovland. And I think, Vic is such a happy-go-lucky guy, and there's always a big smile on his face, and everyone likes him. But I think now we're starting to see a killer instinct.
Yes.
We're starting to see him be a shark in the water, and he smell bloods and he pounces. He's not the guy that has the great Thursday and Friday, and then the weekend comes and he starts dribbling it down his leg. No, this is a guy that I think is on a trajectory to put himself in the conversation with the Schefflers, the McIlroys, the Rahms. Like, I think come this time next year, it's not the big 3 anymore. I think it could be the big 4. I think this is an opportunity here for him to put him. He's not going to be in the conversation after winning the Tour Championship if he does, but I think it helps him put him on that trajectory.
Well, and Dusty, and in some ways, it feels like he already is, minus a major championship.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, with what we're talking about him, you guys are right. I mean, he kind of is. I mean, if this guy locks in a major 2 over the next 6 or something like that, all of a sudden, the conversation we're having right now is a conversation that golf fans are having at clubhouses around the country, right? Like, that's just he should be there, just missing a thing or two to not make that list right now. But I mean, you make a great point, obviously, with Scheffler, Patty. Huss, you mentioned you were thinking Rory and then decided, some more value on Vic with the way he's. I am going to stick with Rory. I'm glad you kind of switched it up because I like Rory at plus 350 here as well, mostly because he's just been an East Lake monster. I mean, the guy, what he wrap up his last one with a weekend of like 66, 63 or something like that. Like, to me, as difficult as it will be for people to track down Scotty Scheffler, I mean, we know there are the putting issues, but if there's two guys who can do it, I mean, they're sitting right there behind him. You guys made a great case for Vic. And to be honest with you, I'll take Rory against Scotty Scheffler at this track pretty much every time. So can he get 2 strokes out of it? Or 3, I guess? Yeah, I think he can. So I don't mind Rory sitting at plus 350 either. I think it's going to be a real fun weekend.
Hey, we can talk about the love of the game and the honor of the PGA Tour and all that stuff, but these guys play for checks, and Rory has proven to be the cash player right there. Rory McIlroy, first championship. However, I still think that at 5-1 with a stroke ahead of Rory, I mean, to me, the bet here is Vic. But to be honest, I mean, if you wanted to have some fun and not go too crazy, essentially it's fading Scheffler, which is just the thought of that sounds
It doesn't sound crazy.
I mean, you go Rory at plus 350, you go Vic at 5-1, and essentially you've got those two chasers going up against Scotty. But it should be, I mean, it's going to be fun. As soon as the first round's done, we sort of know where guys are. What is a challenge is following the without strokes tournament within the tournament, which I think we certainly will, because that is where you have some more interesting numbers, some bigger numbers that you'd normally get betting PGA or a golf tournament on a regular week.
Yeah, Patty, where are you at on that? I mean, have you dove into some top 5s, top 10s, the tournament winner, obviously, the event itself?
I've probably dove into more than I need to be leading into the NFL season. College football is week 0s here this weekend, so probably could have been a little bit smarter with my payroll, but that's what it's all about. But I like so one is Max Homa, winner without strokes. I think he's playing some of the best golf that we've seen in his career. I know at the start of the year when he was collecting some of those wins, that's where he's really heating up. We saw him kind of have a little bit of a blip, and now he's right in there, right in the hunt. I think East Lake fits his style of play really well, and I just feel like mentally he's in a really good spot here. Another guy that it should come as no surprise who I'm on, and I was kind of surprised at the number for him to win without the strokes, was Tommy Fleetwood at 28-1. This seems like the perfect bet for Tommy here because there's no pressure on him to win. He's pretty much too far of it to get back into things and win it. But with that being said, he can go out there, play freewheeling golf. East Lake fits him really nicely, I think. And he can just go out and play Tommy Ladd golf on the weekend, get it close enough, but not win the actual tour championship, but he might be able to win it without the stroke. So those two there are my without stroke bets. Do you want my top 10s and
yeah, give them to us. Yeah, we got to build a parlay here, right? So
those two guys certainly as well with top 10, and for both of them, Homa with top 5 as well. I like. I can't see Homa. I think he's starting at technically 6th. He'd really have to fall off the face of the earth to drop out of that. I know it's a juicy number.
He's at 4 under.
There you go. He's at 4. So he'd really have to blow up. The other one, and you already mentioned his name, Lucas Glover, top 5 at plus 350.
With the way he's been playing, right? Like,
with the way he's been playing, like how does that happen?
And
like that's got to be a typo.
He's starting in the top 5. I mean, he's right there, 5th as of right now.
I've got him for a top 10. I got him for a top 10 for sure because it's like plus 120 or something. Like,
yeah. I think it's 110, 120. So that one, no doubt there, is a no-brainer for me. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but kind of like Schauffele to finish in within the top 5 as well. Again, I don't think it's enough for him to win this event. Again, pressure off him though. And I think he can just play steady golf, collect his paycheck. Because we talk about how big of a check it is for the winner. If you look down the prize pool at, top 2, 3, 4, 5, even like to 10, they're getting a pretty penny as well. So there's a lot of motivation for this guys, even without them not being in that staggered start or near the top. Like if they can get themselves into a good position, they're walking home with a healthy check. So that's another one I like. But I would definitely say if we're looking to cook up a parlay here, I think Glover, Homa, or Tommy Ladd would be my 3 favorite placing bets.
Huss, who did you want to throw in there?
Well, you know what? For the parlay, I think I like, and I'm looking for a guy that I think has a good chance of doing it, plus a half decent number. And Matthew Fitzpatrick, top 10, is plus 110, and Fitz is starting at 4 under. So I mean, essentially, he's starting in the top 10. It's almost a bet. Can he hold his spot? He was awesome last week. I mean, listen, he got beat by Vic Hovland, and and one shot by Scotty Scheffler on at the end. But I mean, he was absolutely right there. So he's probably my favorite top 10, and probably what I would throw in for the parlay. Matthew Fitzpatrick top 10 at plus 110. The other longer shots, I do like Russell Henley, and we've talked a lot about.
That's
Henley.
my guy. That's my guy. I got him top 10 for the parlay for sure. That's who I was going to bring up. I've been on Henley for a month.
Plus 140, and Russell is starting at 3 under. So I think that's a nice spot. I do like Sung Jae Im as well. Sung Jae is starting at 2 under.
Yeah.
So again, it's a little bit more. I mean, plus 185. I'll bet that. I wouldn't suggest that for the parlay. I think Matthew Fitzpatrick plus 110, nice value, and I think there's a very good chance that he's there. But both of those guys, Henley and Sung Jae, without the starting strokes, I think are intriguing bets. Sung Jae's been really good as of late. People are sort of recognizing it. He's 22 to 1. But I'll tell you what, Henley to win without starting strokes at 28 to 1, I think is a worthwhile sprinkle right now, even though we won't be hearing about him winning the entire tournament. But that's where I went. But as far as the parlay goes, throw me in for Matty Fitz top 10 at plus 110.
So if we've got Fitzpatrick and Henley top 10s, Pat, you laid out a list of guys that you like. Who do you feel most confident in throwing into that parlay? And remember, Pat, we're trying to go back to back here.
No pressure. The one that I probably feel most comfortable with is Homa. But with that being said, it's minus 154. I know we probably will get a decent number with those other two, but I would be okay with Fleetwood and Huss. It wasn't on my card, but now you've talked to me into it. I think Sung Jae is a great play. Let's not forget this guy almost, won it last year. He was right there near the end going up against Rory McIlroy. So I would be fine with Sung Jae if you want a little bit of a better price. Glover, I know, Dusty, you said you like Glover there.
I've got Glover in a top 10. Yeah, I've got Glover in a top 10 too. What's that number? What's his number at? It's still plus money, isn't it?
Yeah, 110. Yeah. I'd be okay with Glover if we want to get a better number than Homa. And if we're thinking maybe Sung Jae and Fleetwood might be slightly too much of a bigger
Huss,
number.
what do you think? What do you think, buddy?
We've got plus money numbers with both Fitzpatrick and Henley. I'll be honest, I like Homa over Glover in this situation, and the difference is not huge. Well, I guess is Glover plus money? Did you say
Glover's plus 110?
Yeah,
to be top 10.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I ran to the bank.
I think you just made our mind up. Glover's plus 110, top 10. Yeah.
What did he do last week at the BMW?
He was good question. I'll pull that
double
up.
check
Because
on
I mean, there is part of me, I think part of everyone that's waiting for the clock to strike
to fall
midnight.
off. Yeah.
I mean, he had those back-to-back wins, and he's now in a great spot.
He's T22.
T22, and Homa finished where?
Here's Glover's.
Almost T5.
Let me run this by you for Glover. Since the RBC Canadian Open, T20 cut, Rocket Mortgage Classic T4, John Deere Classic T6, Barbasol 5th, 3M Open cut, won the Wyndham, won FedEx, and then T22. So he's got, in his last 7 events, he's got 5 top 6 finishes.
And he is starting at 5 under. All right, we can roll with Glover. Homa's probably a safer play, even though he's starting one back. But again, if we're getting plus money then on all three of these guys, we're probably in a nice area code for hopefully one final winner with the partner parlay.
And as you guys remember, Lucas Glover was also the first PGA Tour winner to look like they peed themselves. I don't know if you saw those photos of him in those khakis.
Tough scene.
I'd piss myself too. You know? All right,
Fitz,
so
Henley, Glover.
Yeah, that'd be a really good number. I'm fine with Homa too, but I mean Glover has been red hot. So
I've got a lot invested in Homa. I've got him to win outright without strokes and then T5, T10. So I'm okay with going with Glover here and getting a little more on Glover. Again, I'm already locked in on him for that top 10 at plus money. That makes 0 sense.
Yeah, no, I thought that was an automatic. So yeah, let's do it. Huss, you okay? Lock this in.
I'm okay. Yeah, Fitz.
Pardon me though. I will. Let me just be devil's advocate for 1 second. And Huss, I know you got to go, so we'll wrap here quick. But are Fitz, Henley, and Glover, like, is there room for all three of those guys in the top 10 at this type of event with a lot of the big names?
Well, because we know that Scheffler, Hovland, Rory, Rahm are going to be there.
Yeah.
They're probably going to have Cantlay in there. And then it's that rest of the group.
So do we get a little bit?
Glover's starting in a great spot, right? Like,
I know.
I mean, Homa's one stroke back of him.
If we wanted to take Henley out, we could throw Homa in. That's our biggest swing odds-wise.
I actually feel pretty good about Henley.
Yeah, about Henley? Yeah, me too.
So do I.
Yeah.
So do I.
He's going in.
Look, they're all starting in pretty good spots, right? Henley's 3 under, Glover's 5 under, and Fitz is what? What'd you say Fitz was, Huss?
Fitz is 4.
Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like we're overthinking it now. I'm probably overthinking it. So let's just leave it. Let's lock it in. Fitz, Henley, and Glover, top 10s. Yeah, let's do it. All right. Done. Okay, excellent. Perfect. Hey, do you got a Greggy's golf special, Pat, for this one?
It's not live yet, but it will be up a little bit later. So keep your eyes peeled on the exclusives, and we'll make sure that they go out on the socials as well.
All right, buddy. Thanks a lot, man. We'll talk some NFL next week.
Great season. Pat. One more win.
Beautiful sound that was.
That sounded nice, didn't it?
Oh,
we'll talk some NFL next season.
Get those college picks ready. I want to be tailing you in week 0, not just week 1.
There's some opportunities out there. I'll leave it at that, but we'll talk a little later.
Talk to you later, man. There you go. That's Pat Gregoire from Coolbet Canada. Huss, I like the way that this come together here, I think. Actually, I like all of them. I didn't look too much into Fitz, but I love the fact that you seemed like you're pretty all in on Fitz. So
yeah, I mean, listen, he was right there. He's had a great season. He's starting at 4 under. I mean, he's right there with the rest of those guys. So I think he'll finish up in the top 10, and we'll see how it all shakes out. But it's been a great golf season. We're locked and loaded, ready for football. But let's get one more partner parlay winner. And hey, listen, let's go, Vic. Come on, 5-1, back to back, little extra $10 million bonus for Victor if he can do it. It's crazy, man. The winner gets $8 million for winning the tournament plus the $10 million bonus. So $18 million for first, $6.5 million for second. Imagine if this goes to a playoff.
Oh my God. Yeah, $11.5 million putt. Come on. Oh, jeez. Exactly. All right, that's going to do it for another episode of The Lock Shop. We'll be back tomorrow, CFL Week 12, to get you set in the Canadian Football League. Huss, we'll talk to you then, man.
Later, bud.